Well, I started out 20 years ago in East London as teaching in a Year 5 class in an inner city school. About 15 years ago I moved overseas, first to the Emirates, and then I've managed to move around Asia and the Middle East before coming here 3 years ago, trying for a different cultural experiences really. There are very few differences generally around the world. Children are children, they're learning, they learn from experience, and often in the international setting they're getting very similar cultural backgrounds. There are differences in some of the approaches and some of the family backgrounds. So in some parts of the world you'll see a different focus on what's expected of education and how children are expected to perform in schools, particularly in some of the parts of the world where there is more of a focus on academic attainment over personal development. I think the students here, though, are generally very good blend of looking to achieve academically but also looking to develop as people. In terms of what I've experienced, the most positive aspects and strengths tend to be with their approach. They tend to be very keen to improve, very keen to work hard. They tend to take on board the lessons that we're teaching them both academically and socially, and they tend to very much look to explore the world and express themselves as individuals. Within international schools generally, the students are able to benefit from being around other people from other parts of the world. It gives them more of a familiarity with differences rather than what they see particularly portrayed on the television or in a movie. They tend to spot stereotypes for stereotypes. They tend to generally become more welcoming and understanding of others and recognise that sometimes the issues you see on the news are not as black and white as we would like them to be, and to understand some of the more intricate issues in the world in a different way to some adults that you will meet. I've enjoyed teaching in Romania. I think it's been without trying to sound bad, it's been a relaxing time for me. It's been without some of the cultural things that I have had to deal with in the past. In the day-to-day life, it's made it very much easier to feel relaxed, to feel more comfortable in what I'm doing, and generally speaking, the students here have been very good and very welcoming and very helpful and very kind and considerate. Well, first of all, I just would say that I think every education system has its strengths and weaknesses. Within the UK system, there is less of an automatic focus on particularly attainment than some other systems, and more on individual progress. There tends to be a view that rather than passing or failing a year group, you will have a teacher, you will move with the rest of your age group so that the social side of things is a lot easier for you. There's no social stigma to where you are in the school. It is purely based on age, and we will then look to adapt and support and try and ensure that you're making the progress you need to make towards set goals. But if you fall short this year, then we will work on helping you do more next year. If you exceed this year, then we will work on trying to take you further on that journey this year. I think they tend to adapt fairly well. Certainly the students that I've spoken to have talked about how they enjoy the fact that they're able to be more hands-on, be more involved in what they're doing, that the atmosphere is often a little bit more relaxed and the approach is a little bit more focused on them rather than on the set curriculum. So I think ISO started out very much as a family school, and that's something we're working hard to keep in place. As more students come in, it's interesting to see how some of our older students in particular have become more naturally adopting leadership roles and welcoming others, helping and supporting them. As we grow, we are looking very hard to try and keep that as the essence of the school, while at the same time sort of ensuring that we are in a position where in 10 years' time, if there is a different set of teachers, a different set of school leaders, that we've set things up so that people can come in and carry on where we started from. So I think at the moment the future's looking positive. We will obviously be continuing to grow. There are areas that we will look to develop, which we are always trying to consult parents, students and the staff with. We work very hard to identify where we do things well, and to learn lessons from those, as well as to identify areas we can improve, which there will always be in a school, and work to try and strengthen those areas and take from what we do well to help enhance in those areas as well. What we do is we take the feedback from every group of individuals, and what we will then look to do is balance that with whether or not that feedback is a high priority or maybe not such a high priority. Not that it happens, but if we were getting feedback about the safety of children, then we would obviously immediately consider that high priority, whereas it was, we don't like the colour of the school badge, we might say, okay, we will look at that, but maybe not as a high priority object. But again, we want to take everyone's views into account, so genuinely we will not say if it's a family's feedback it's less important than if it's the SSP coordinator's feedback. We will treat all feedback as a useful point to learn from and to improve.